specifically on the game, but everyone wants to know, is Bree okay, or what happened to him there?
Yeah, I think he's okay. They're taking him to the hospital. They weren't too concerned. He was dizzy. Might have had the flu. A little bit that popped up. It's kind of going through a few of the guys, so he might have been a little bit dehydrated from that. So we think that's a part of it, but he'll be okay.
And then going to the game, you guys obviously dominated. The scoreline was maybe didn't show that quite as much, but get the win. How would you evaluate the game?
Yeah, I would agree. You know, we dominated possession, dominated chances. You know, felt less convincing than we wanted, but that's soccer. We saw it happen. Dallas was up 3-1 today, and they drew the game 3-3. You know, and that's why they call a 2-goal lead the most dangerous lead in soccer, because one goal turns it, and that's exactly what happened. I actually thought we showed a lot of maturity in not conceding the next goal. We certainly should have scored, you know, several other goals to make the margin bigger. But if you're on the game, you know that happens. So I think we actually evolved, because that was the type of game that we've drawn several times this year, and in some cases we've lost that game this year. So I think for me, you know, when a game turns like it turned, you know, where we give them a goal and we make the margin 2-1, you're always going to be a bit, you know, wobbly. But I thought we weathered the storm, and I thought we showed a lot of maturity not to give up the next goal. And you know, if we score the third, then it's a whole different feeling at the end of the game.
First half, he basically parked Darlington Nagbe right at the corner of the box, and he just lived there. Made a lot of hay for you guys. He backed off considerably from that spot in the second half. Was that a function of just trying to keep the ball and to keep possession, or do you think that's something that you need to sort of work on pinning your ears back with?
Well, I think you always, again, you have to, you know, factor in the opponent and their positioning and where they push their numbers. You know, it's a tricky game when you play a team where basically the season's done. You know, and pressure, funny enough, is off, and it's even more off when you're down 2-0. You know, so it's a tricky type of game to play when a team has nothing to lose and then they're down 2-0, and then we give them a goal. And then we give them a little bit of life. You know, obviously we didn't do anything wrong as a team on the goal that we gave them, other than we passed the ball to them, and you know, we have to make sure that doesn't happen. And if that goal doesn't happen, I think it's probably going to be a 3-4, 5-0 game. I mean, we were absolutely electric the first 25 minutes of the game, and you know, our team, you know, you can't forget, played extremely well to get the 2-goal lead. And that's unfortunate, the pass that Lawrence had that made it 2-1. But when that happens, games change, and the mentality changes, and the opponent's mentality changes. You know, I certainly didn't tell Darlington to stop going where he went in the first half. You know, I think it was more, they pushed their outside backs on a little bit more, and he's an honest guy, and you know, he defended a little bit deeper in the second half.
Caleb, talk about the choice of who takes a PK. I assume it's the player's choice, but just talk about how that works.
Yeah, I don't know why I took the PK. No idea. Larry takes her PKs. We all know that. Larry and Adi. So they know that, and you know, when he stepped up to take the PK, I turned the bench and asked, well, I don't know what's going on here, but Larry makes those decisions, and he decided to give him the PK. Might have something to do with his parents were in town. I don't know, you know, but you'll have to ask him.
And then talk about Vitas. Obviously got several assists. He's been out for quite a while, so we can forget what he can play going forward, but just talk about what that adds to the attack.
Yeah, you know, I thought obviously he was a part of both goals, and you know, he gives us that dimension getting forward, and he defended well too. You know, late in the game, every cross that goes in when Gordon's in the box is a heart stopper. And again, this is why I believe that we're evolving as a team, because we won a game tonight that we couldn't win several times this year, and I was really pleased with how we dealt with the crosses at the end of the game, the set piece at the end of the game. Those were moments that, like I said, we couldn't weather earlier in the year. So we're evolving as a team. We're getting, mentally better at closing out games. That's great to see. This is hopefully a pattern that will continue. And as it continues, I think we'll play a bit better too. More convincing, and obviously a couple of chances again. If we finish, then we're all feeling a lot different, right, at the end of the game. But first and foremost, 3 points, big 3 points. That puts us in a good spot.
You said audio is questionable for tonight. Any idea about Sunday yet?
Don't know yet. We're hopeful that maybe he can factor in that game, but we're not sure. So it'll depend on the next 2 days.
Anybody else back here? Sarah.
Hey, Coach. So to kind of further talk about Nagby, it seems that the past few games he's been in different assignments. Against New York, he was on the right, kind of playing a bit deeper, almost like an inverted winger. Tonight, like you said, he was out much forward and on the left again. How much of that is his reading of the game, and how much of that are you instructing him to do?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we put him on the left today. He's been on the right. I've spoke on that in the press conferences, the reason behind that, because Blanco was in a good run of form, scoring goals on that left, and I'm a big believer in the chemistry, the outside back that they're paired with as well, and him and Roy had played extremely well together, and so I wanted to stick with that, and thought Nagby had a really good game against Houston on the right, and we know Nagby's good wherever you play him. I mean, he can play the right, left, the 6, the 8, he's the 10, probably even goalkeeper. He's good wherever you play him. So when we're crafting the plan, we look at the opponent, and we decided to play him on the left because we know Vitas and him work well together. They have good chemistry, and I thought Blanco had a few moments last game where he floated to the right, and so again, looking with him and Zarek and looking at the chemistry of the two on the wing and the opponent. But certainly the opponent factors a lot. The matchup of the outside back, that's a big part of it as well. We look at that and, talk about positioning. We talk a lot before the game and in training on the positioning of the wingers. Sometimes we want them wider. Sometimes we want them coming in more narrow early, sitting in pockets. Sometimes we want them to start wide and then drive in with the ball. Again, it depends a little bit on the outside back. With Roy, he's a guy that's not going to get forward quite as much. So Blanco seems to provide a bit more width when he's on the left than Darlington does.
Time for one more, please.
You're taking care of business in these two against New York and Colorado. What is I think 3 points was always the expectation from both of these games. What does it mean in that respect now, going to Seattle against a team that's sitting on top of the Western Conference, but with you nipping at their heels? I mean, what does taking care of business look like up at Century League?
Yeah, so we've been above the red line all year, and I feel like at times, if you were in the locker room, that my messages before the game are a broken record, because I'm basically saying, we're pushing for the top, and ideally we want to be fighting for the top till the season's done, and that's a nice feeling, because in years past we're fighting for the line, and so I'm real pleased that the guys, after we've become a little bit healthy, have started to take care of business and get points, because now we're in a position where we keep fighting for the top, and that's what we're going to do versus Seattle. Obviously this sets up a massive game where they're probably favored in the game, because obviously, historically speaking, the home team wins, and in this league the home team has an advantage. But we're going to go there with the mindset of hopefully stealing 3 points.